on NBC Connecticut.
Trees toppled, power lines torn down. Tonight, thousands are in the dark as this nasty storm moves through Connecticut. From the winds and rain to nearly half a foot of snow, no one was spared from this.
Find out how much longer it lasts and what you can expect for the rest of the weekend in my First Alert forecast.
Was your home or car damaged in this weather? You're probably wondering if you're covered by your insurance policy. Consumer investigator Sandra Jones has some important information right now.
This is NBC Connecticut News at 11.
What a day it has been weather-wise. Whipping winds, relentless rain, leaving a path of destruction all across the state. And this nor'easter is still packing a punch. We are not done with this just yet. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Mike Haida. Keisha is off. Doppler radar still lit up 24 hours after this storm started, still causing problems. Eastern part of the state, you can see the mix, the big column of moisture from Enfield all the way south still taking on. And you know what? Thousands of people are still without power tonight. Eversource reporting just about 62,000 customers waiting for the electricity to come back on. 40% of the flights out of Bradley International Airport have been canceled. And passengers who are flying tomorrow morning urged to check in with their airline. Amtrak service suspended until tomorrow. Even the Port Jeff Ferry in Bridgeport not running. We have team coverage all across the state tonight, reporting on the changing conditions as they happen. Chief Meteorologist Ryan Hanrahan starts us off with the newest information. Ryan.
So the wind is still going on out there, Mike. Here's a live look outside on Waterbury. You can see that wind is whipping out of the north right now. Check out these snow totals across the state today. A lot of the state, as expected, got very little, if any, snow, but the Northwest Hills got quite a bit of snow. Sharon, 9 inches of snow. Kent picked up 8 inches. Even New Fairfield near Danbury had 7 inches. Norfolk, 5 inches. Warren, 5 inches. And Canaan, 2.5 inches of snow. We're actually waiting for a lot of reports to come in because a lot of our weather observers in northwestern Connecticut, where they got the most snow, lost power this evening because of the heavy wet snow weighing down on the trees and the power lines. We've got some light rain from Enfield to Hartford down through Middletown right now, but in the hill towns in northeastern Connecticut, we have changed over to snow. In fact, the snow's coming down at a pretty good clip from Tolland up into portions of Stafford, over through Willington, and now Ashford and Woodstock especially getting a pretty good band of snow. It's snowing pretty hard in Putnam right now, snowing fairly hard around Thompson, snowing over toward Eastford, and if you head down Route 97 from Pomfret over toward places like Hampton, looking at a pretty good burst of snow. And I wouldn't be surprised if the snow starts accumulating up here in northeastern Connecticut. Could see an inch or two of accumulation during the evening and overnight hours. Still some moisture to go. Moisture coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. Eventually the moisture will shut off and we will clear things out. So after about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, the moisture will sink to the south. Clouds will begin to break and we will see improving conditions. It is still quite windy out there, but the winds have come way down from where they were earlier. So we're gusting to around 40 miles per hour across the state, and we will see a very gradual decrease in the wind speeds through the overnight hour. First Alert Future Radar shows some snow continuing in the northeast hills. Generally just a cold rain with a few wet snowflakes mixed in from Hartford to Middletown to New Haven. A few lingering flurries up through portions of northwestern Connecticut. But by Saturday morning, when you wake up tomorrow morning, all of this is pretty much out of here. Still looking at a gusty northerly wind across the state, but the clouds will begin to break and the rain and the snow, it will all be over. And most of the day tomorrow is looking generally okay. We'll talk a lot more about what to expect for the remainder of the weekend. We'll also talk about just how strong the winds got today. We've got some incredible wind gust numbers from the shoreline. We'll have that for you coming up in just a few minutes. Mike, back to you.
All right, Ryan, we'll see you in just a little bit. New at 11, one person has died as a result of today's storm. State police say it was a tree that fell on a car on Route 15 South in Stamford this afternoon. A person inside that car is the one who died from their injuries. Utility crews going to be working through the night to restore power to thousands across the state after these trees keep tumbling down everywhere. One of the hardest hit spots, Montville. That is where NBC Connecticut's Matt Austin continues our live team coverage. Matt.
Yeah, hi, Mike. With a light rain still falling and some gusty conditions, this is a tough night to be traveling. If you take a look over here, there is one of these official roadblocks, just one of the numerous ones. This is right here on Route 85 at the intersection with Turner Road. But whether you're going out through this town, you have to be really careful because there's a lot of unmarked down trees as these winds really pummel this area. Tonight in Montville, drivers discovering trees down on roads and numerous street closures. a traffic light going dark as about a third of the town lost power at some point.
We were really surprised at the amount of wind that was really whistling through town all afternoon.
Tom Cordero captured some of the damage nearby in East Hampton. A tree fell on his friend's home on North Maple Street. The couple who lives here is getting married in a few weeks.
They came home to quite a scene, and they're going to have quite a cleanup to do over the next couple weeks, and we hope it doesn't impede their wedding, of course.
Winds causing havoc across the region. In Colchester, the roof blew off this mobile gas station on Old Hartford Road. Staff raced to cover items as water leaked into the building. In Marlboro, a tough day for a driver who parked here off of North Main Street. This tree smashing down on the car, no word about any injuries. Now the cleanup begins across the area from this wild nor'easter.
It was very powerful.
Absolutely. At last check, about 2,700 customers here in Montville still did not have power. Eversource says its crews are going to be working throughout the night, but of course, these winds are not making it any easier, and it could be days before everyone in the state has their power back. We're live tonight in Montville. Matt Austin, NBC Connecticut News. Mike, back to you.
All right, thank you, Matt. Talking about busy and power outages, bustling Bishop's Corner in West Hartford dark for a good part of Friday night. Eversource says almost 3,000 outages in town, but the lights just came back on a few minutes ago in Bishop's Corner in West Hartford. Greenwich police say there is extensive damage to the power infrastructure there. Emergency crews are working all over town. They tell us several hundred trees have come down, and the officers are telling everyone to stay home and off the road so they can do their work. Wild scenes across the state, and those powerful winds brought down many trees and power lines. Here's New Haven. Huge tree came crashing down at the corner of Canner and Autumn Streets, and it damaged the side of a home and then smashed 3 cars, too, parked on the street.
I was just grateful that I had insurance. I think a lot of worse things could happen. I could have been hurt, somebody else could have been hurt, so I'm just going to laugh it off and file the claim.
And a woman was actually in the home when the tree came down, but fortunately she was not hurt. And take a look at Oxford. Some of the power lines there caught fire. This was on Dorman Road this afternoon. A massive oak tree slammed into those wires and then snapped a utility pole before it landed on a truck. That's all fixed now, though. The road is back open. Snow Monster patrolling the streets right now, keeping an eye out for the changing weather conditions. This is Norfolk. You can count on Snow Monster for the precise local road conditions in any storm. Also, you can follow him on Twitter, Snow Monster CT. And we'll see where he is headed next. Even though most of us saw a lot of rain, it was a much different story in the northwestern part of the state. People there saw plenty of snow. NBC Connecticut's Jamie Ratliff continues our team coverage. She is live in Goshen. Jamie.
Yeah, Mike, quite a different scene here where we are in this part of the state. The area of Goshen looking picturesque after the snowfall today, but the wind here making it far less enjoyable to be outside. The wind continued to whip across the state late into the night. In Goshen, it pushed sheets of snow into the air, adding to an already slick ride for drivers.
They've been getting worse as the day's gone on, but the town crew has done a great job. Town and state have done a great job of keeping up with things.
In Litchfield, crews worked tirelessly to clear the roads. The heavy, wet snow quickly turning into a slushy mess in parking lots.
So it's like really heavy and really hard to shovel.
And along the Torrington Green, the powerful gust that ripped through shook nearby signs.
It's bad. Our mailbox is like hanging by a thread right now.
Earlier in the day in Southington, the storm brought power lines down onto a school bus. 10-year-old Joseph Fabiano was one of the students inside.
Everyone was asking the bus driver what happened, and then she said that there was a power line on the bus, and then she told us to be calm and just relax.
His older sister Alexandria says everyone got out safely. Those we spoke to tonight say while they may be tired of the snow, it's certainly not out of the ordinary for this time of year, and they don't expect it to be the last.
Comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb, so we just got started in March.
We've seen several plow trucks run through the area here, so the roads are mostly cleared of snow, but that's not the case everywhere, and we do still have some slick spots here, so definitely slippery conditions for any drivers heading out tonight. We're live in Goshen. Jamie Ratliff, NBC Connecticut News. Mike.
All right, thank you, Jamie. And on the shoreline, the tides are starting to roll in again. The water is seeping back onto the streets along the shoreline that were already flooded this morning. NBC Connecticut's Leslie Mays is live in Mystic, where the waves are starting to pick up once again. Leslie.
Yeah, Mike, I am on Water Street. We know why this street has that name. If you take a look at this dock right here, you can see the water nearly topping it and then pouring out into the street. This is the second time, at least today, that this has happened. Now, here in this area, the concern has been water and flooding, but around the shoreline, a lot of people have been worried about that wind and downed trees. This storm, they say, not the end of the world, but it has made quite a headache for a lot of folks.
It has been blustery and windy and a little scary.
On the shoreline, Mother Nature has been seen, felt, and heard all day long. The gusty winds snapping trees like twigs in town after town, causing power outages and damage to homes and streets. This tree came down right onto wires in the middle of Hamden's Still Hill Road. There, one only had to look up to understand the strength of the day's gusts, with large trees being pushed from side to side by majorly strong winds. Fire broke out on Shepherd Avenue when the storm brought down energized electrical wires. Cleanup crews playing catch-up all day. With each downed tree they cleared, more than a dozen still left to be removed. More than 40 trees reported down in Hamden alone before the end of the workday. In Mystic, Water Street lived up to its name, flooding the road as the tide came in, leaving it looking more like a marina. But also on Water Street, just beyond the water's reach, at the Captain Daniel Packer Inn, the weather hasn't stopped a healthy crowd coming out for the night for an impromptu nor'easter party of sorts.
Makes you feel alive. This is some pretty extreme weather for us, and with the high winds and the rain, the driving rain.
It's not a hurricane, although we've had some big gusts.
Here, despite the cold, the wind, and the possibility the tide could be at their feet for the walk home, they're taking the storm in stride.
We'll be fine. It's a little water, it'll recede, and we'll be okay.
So certainly lots of people trying to have some fun with what has happened here today, but not fun for everyone. We did just check in with Eversource, who says that in the Stonington Groton area tonight, there are still about 1,700 customers who do not have any power. We are live tonight in Mystic. I'm Leslie Mays, NBC Connecticut News. Mike, back to you.
All right, thank you, Leslie. And you know the conditions keep changing, so it's perfect time to have the free NBC Connecticut app on your phone. And if the weather isn't on your homepage, just click on the weather tab. That way you can use the interactive radar. You can also use the First Alert Future Radar, which shows you when the storms are headed your way. Coming up, this nor'easter is slamming the New England shoreline. The warnings for people in Massachusetts on the coast tonight.
And the good news out in Long Island Sound is the coastal flooding tonight will be very, very minor. The wind is out of the north, so it's pushing the sound away from the Connecticut shoreline. But we're not done with the wind yet across the state. Still some gusts up and over 40 miles per hour. We'll talk about what to expect for the remainder of the night and also for the day tomorrow, coming up in my First Alert forecast.
And good evening, Norfolk. Snow monster rolling through your town where it's in the upper 20s right now. So slick spots possible, so be careful. Going to keep rolling through to give you the accurate updates on the local forecast. And by the way, did this storm leave a mark on your home or even your car? If you are scrambling to see if you're covered by insurance, consumer investigative reporter Sandra Jones is making it easy for you to figure that out. That's coming up next.